Hi
So,
guys.
hi everyone. So today we are going to talk with you about why does enterprise use Angular. Before that, we introduce ourselves first.
Hi, I'm Wicky. I'm the CTO of FlowAccount. FlowAccount is a cloud accounting software. We are running a SaaS business model. So if you guys ever heard of Zero and QuickBooks, we are similar to them, but catered to Thai small, medium-sized businesses, customized for the Thai workflow. Yep. Hello.
So so my turn. So my name is Siwat Kaolueng, or you just call me James. I am the full stack engineer at the Flow account, and I'm also the one of the organizer of the Angular Thailand.
Before we go further, let's define what S is an enterprise. When we think about enterprise, what does come first to your mind?
It's a giant company with a thousand of employees.
Does it have a lot of revenue?
Does it involve financial or health concern or of users? Absolutely.
Absolutely. Everything is correct.
So enterprise software stability affect math user and customers. So it's translate to not being able to transfer money in a crucial situation, just like bank or stock markets.
Or not being able to get appointment in crucial cases like getting an appointment with doctors. These days we have to get it online because of the pandemic, as you know it, and getting appointment at the government office or lining in queues on digital queuing system for the government offices.
So this is why equation enterprise equal risk is really valid for today world, because people rely on stability, and internet has become like electricity where they cannot live without. So any organization have employee churn. The bigger the organization, equal bigger churn.
While companies have a lot of churn, business needs to continue. The show must go on. That's why we need a stable technology with a stable maintainability to continue these businesses.
And yeah, cause people may leave and business has to go on. So this is why the most reliable technology is considered for enterprise. An enterprise must choose the one that will not deprecate it or discontinue.
So, James, how do we choose a reliable front-end technology?
So let's compare the top three front end technology right now. We will go through these three most popular today: Angular, React, and Vue. So the Angular and React were started as an internal technology driven by Google and Facebook, respectively, to solve many of challenges encountered in developing single-page applications.
While Vue was started by one ex-Google developer, Ivan Yu. His main reason because of Angular, I guess, but because he was using Angular JS back then. And I quote this from him. I figured, what if I could just extract the part that I really liked about Angular and build something really lightweight? It was what he said in 2017 when he started Vue.
And
Now we are
now,
going to tell you some stories about the code base for each framework.
so starting out with the contribution of to Angular, there are over 1,000 contributors to Angular project, and you can see the commit graph is diverse among many developers, showing the technological stability and continuity.
Even though Angular broke away from AngularJS from version 2 to version 9 without any backward compatibility, they have successfully learned their lesson from the past mistakes and from the past framework design and designed a new framework and successfully onboard new developers to Angular.
And yes, indeed, because today Angular has more than 2,000 projects in the Google built by Angular. And React also has more than 1,000 contributors and diversified commit among them as well. This is proof that enterprise back technology do draw more attention and stability along the years.
Coming to Vue, since it was a one-man journey, we all can see that it attracted around 300 contributors, which is a lot for something that one man has built, and he has built it really successfully. But it is, of course, officially lesser than the ones that have an official backup like Facebook or Google, for sure.
Did this also translate to real-world example where Facebook and Google product adopt their own framework, make it more popular, while Vue doesn't have a large product base to start off?
Vue is a great lightweight and progressive framework. That's why it's so popular today. Even Alibaba uses it. But because of the back, it still is developed more slower and less tested than the other two.
So humans are always making a choice, right? And the paradox is not what is right or wrong, but it's of what is best for now.
For example, the same choices exist in these three frameworks. All of a good front-end framework would have state management, router, render engines, and pre-render engines.
But the paradox is within itself. For example, React has many router, state management, and form library to choose. This causes contradiction in enterprise when building up their platform or product.
Differing from React, Angular and Vue are opinionated framework, opinionated. When they adopt libraries into the core framework and choose the best ones to maintain and evolve for you, they already have the standard chosen for you and they already know which one you should use to build your software.
To rescue developer in enterprise setting, Angular has created a standard where developers are focused on productivity and not just doing proof of concept, just testing library.
By using standard and proven libraries, it makes our life much more easier to decide on our product and to iterate on our product, not to sit around and not to create proof of concept and test out libraries so that we can prove that this would work in a real world or production environment.
And yes, Angular is all in one. So you don't almost need to decide much about the library that you have to use.
Angular has already chosen everything for you.
For example, there are only one Angular standard router library.
They do come with standard and evolving documentation as well. And remember that in an enterprise environment, enterprise moves slowly. So something that is standard makes their productivity much faster.
So to get things done, use framework over library.
Now we're going to go to show you a couple of statistics and prove similarity for Angular design pattern and object-oriented software object-oriented programming languages pattern like Java and C#.
Enterprise has rely on strong type language for its scalability and security for a long time.
Enterprise developers find it easier to adopt Angular because of its similarity in design patterns to the other languages like Java and C#.
So as you can see from the Stack Overflow traffic in 2018, OOP language, especially C# and Java developers tend to visit Angular. In the opposite spectrum, developers are proficient in dynamic type language, adapt to React more easily, since React is originally dynamic type language.
Here is an example of a pattern we use in C# and Angular, the decorator pattern. In C# and Angular, it is used as a class property attributes to define certain behaviors for classes, like routes or components.
And TypeScript is a strict synthetical and superset of the JavaScript and add optional static typing to the language. It has been proven through the time that TypeScript code is reliable and maintainable.
Angular version 2 to 9 was built on TypeScript, not counting AngularJS, of course, and hence it's a better choice to mitigate human errors and compile time errors. Microsoft even admitted that without Angular using TypeScript, TypeScript wouldn't have come this far.
And now we are going to talk about the challenge of the enterprise software project and present to you the tool that help solve this madness.
Let us start off by showing you the challenges. Enterprise they do care a lot about consistency in building code, reusing those code, and setting up their workspace to code those code.
They also care how those workspace and code are robust, while at the same time maintainable.
Between all the above, that's already speed up their productivity greatly. The most important thing that they care about is the confidence of changing the code and not having to risk the change in a production environment causing regression issues. So what have we going for? It's what we have been explaining. What is an enterprise and how do they see the world, or how do they perceive their software development processes in the last 10 minutes or so. So we present you NX, a dev tool to solve all of the above issues.
So NX is founded by people who help build Angular, Jeff Cross and Victor Sepkin. I'm kind of the fan club of them. And hence their vision is to enable developers to build like Google and Facebook and Microsoft also in a mono repository.
A mono repository, as everyone have been hearing, is a big hit, a big trend that's going on for the past year. It's filled with tools to make their life easier and increase their productivity. This is how. NX has tools to solve complex processes, best practices for huge teams. Since in a small team, anyone would agree that in a small team, we could just fix these issues over lunch, but not in a big team.
So NX also help promote code ownership concept through templating, which become very important as the code size and the complexity scale. With 3 projects, for example, developer will always know who is the best person to review the PR, but with 30 projects, they won't.
I'm going to take the same example where 3 projects, for example, developer really knows what to retest. But in 30 projects environment in an organization, it's not longer a simple process anymore. That's where NX comes in. It provides extensibility for tools to skim out these unnecessary tests and test the things that they need to test, while it also provides a centralized configuration where a developer can look at the single source of truth together.
So NX Workspace can do all above. How, Vic?
This is because NX has a superhero beneath it. It's called Angular schematics. Now, I'm not being biased, of course, because Angular schematic is agnostic to all other languages. It helps us builders to solve redundant tasks and also build templates. What does a template do, Jame?
Pardon?
What does a
Template view?
template? Yeah, for schematics.
So it can modify the abstract syntax to modify code and generate code in the same way, in the consistent. And it's also you can put the configuration, every configuration in every project in the one single file, Angular JSON and JSON.
So I guess everyone has that itch all the time where they have to put their configuration either in an environment.json or in a YML file, or the config lies on the cloud or somewhere else in S3 and here and there. NX actually helped them to consolidate those into one space.
That's cool. So yeah, why all of both already sound excellent? The more you dig, the more goal you find. And it also provide a way for the community to contribute useful tools they build to solve their problem back to the community.
And it got all sort of nice and weird use cases which exist only in enterprise or a bigger corporate software development environment.
So
like what we have here, we're gonna show you that we came along a problem where we have to move a lot of serverless functions into our workspace. And then we have to end up using 2 or 3 CLIs to do it, to do our CI and then to do our CD. So we take the chance and we take the gain from NX extensibility to build our own builders and schematics. It's open source, of course, because we believe that open source always make a better software. And we standardize those and we end up with only 1 CLI that runs the serverless template, builds it up, and deploys it onto the cloud, and allow developer to test it offline as well.
Yeah, I think that's all for today. So if you have a question, feel free to ask us.
So one of the question, they asked, how do you improve the slow site loading speed caused by the large number of JavaScript files?
To answer those questions, there are many techniques in different languages and frameworks. In Angular, however, we use the way of lazy loading components. So you can lazy load the components in your app router, and then it will be loaded. Those JavaScript files will only be loaded when the UI needs it or when the user changed the routes.
Okay.
And also there is an Angular performance checklist that you can go through that will also help clear out all your performance issues Angular app.
So the question is, do you have any tips on how to debug websites or apps built on Angular?
So let me answer this question. So mostly, I think JavaScript developer, they have the standard way to debug. That is a console log in the code, but we can do it better by using the Chrome DevTool debugger to inspect the variable in the memory and do step by step. So thanks to Google that create Chrome for us to make life easier to develop.
Yeah, writing JavaScript, you cannot live without Chrome developer tools for sure.
So this is a question from Eugene on YouTube. Hi, I recently completed my diploma in CS. I find that our university syllabus still consists of mostly traditional web dev languages. Should I go for a degree as people are migrating towards trendier tech such as Angular, Flutter, because I will graduate with skills that are not in trend? So Eugene is tuning in from Malaysia. I guess Eugene is just asking for some advice, like if the school is, teaching things that are not in trend, what are your advice for him?
Eugene, I graduated from CS as well, but that's around 15 years ago, I think. And back then, we didn't have any choices of any front-end technology because it was still IE5, I guess. but in the facts of thing that is in the syllabus, it's not far-fetched, but in CS diplomas, they try to teach you the basic concept of computer programming. And that concept can be learned from any language. The frameworks and the technology of these days are just something that is sped up, and we can develop our product more quickly with more productivity because there's almost all the tools that you can use already. But then if only you learn how to use the tools without the basic concepts of computer science, then you would just know how to use the tools only, but not know how to change them. So I guess that's my answer.
Thanks, Wicky. Jame, would you like to add on?
So I was graduated about 2 or 3 years ago. So I can answer just from my experience that I got from university. I think university have or diploma have taught us the basic concept that we can get the fundamental to apply in the real world, because the technology is really fast, right? It changes all the time. University can or diploma course syllabus cannot catch the technology trend, but however, they are fundamental that you can get, and it will basically apply to all technology, just like data structures or algorithm, problem solving, optimization problem. I think you have to take it seriously about the fundamental, and you can learn everything really fast. That's my point.